Hey guys, welcome to the Tone Show. My name is Anthony Tone Nunez, and today we're talking about The Strain, Season 4, Episode 6, Tainted Love. Ooh. Okay, guys, so the name of this episode is Tainted Love, right? And this episode had three types of tainted love stuff. So I'm going to go part by part on this one. The first tainted love was Charlotte and Fat. So Charlotte and Fat are headed towards an airfield, right? Where they're going to get a plane so they can fly the nuke to New York to take out the master. And while this is happening, we get more Eichhorst shenanigans, right? So Eichhorst, who's the worst dinner guest, and looks like he's the worst campfire guest you can get as well, shows up to this group of guys who abandoned Quinlan and Fett's group in the last episode, right? And he basically takes two of them out and takes one as a hostage. Now this guy becomes the Uber driver and the Uber fare from hell, right? Because Eichhorst is like the Uber fare. He's like, take me to the airport. Because all of a sudden Eichhorst doesn't want to drive, right? But later on he becomes like this maniac T2 driver, right? Trying to run down our team at the airport. So it's funny because Eichhorst showed up out of the woods, right? So he had no ride. What he do? He ran there. So anyway, he takes this guy. He forces him to drive him to the airport, to the airfield, because that's where the team is headed with the nuke. So that's where we found out that Charlotte and Fett, the reason that Quinlan is always looking at them all creepy. So we flashed back before and we saw that Quinlan in 1888 had a beloved. So it turns out that the first tainted love is Charlotte and Fett. Their love cannot withstand what's happening right here, because basically Quinlan and Fett are headed on a suicide mission to New York to detonate this nuke and take out the master. And we find out that the reason that Quinlan looks at Fett and Charlotte with those eyes is not because of jealousy. Well, maybe he's a little jealous, but it's because Quinlan and Fett and Charlotte remind him of what he had in 1888 with that woman and her daughter, that love. And it turns out the reason he tells Fett that he needs to let Charlotte go is because, one, he thought that Quinlan learned from his own experiences that it's very hard to remain focused on mission. And that's the reason later on we find out that Quinlan, the master, was able to best him in that WWF SmackDown they had, right? It's because Quinlan for a second hesitated. He hesitated, and that hesitation, the master impaled him with his own sword, and then ended up taking out his beloved and her daughter. So Quinlan lost it all in the past, and he didn't want Fett and Charlotte's relationship to end the same way that his relationship ended in the past. So basically, when he's looking at them with those eyes, he's reminiscing, he's looking back to what he lost, and he's also thinking he wants the best for Fett and Charlotte. And the best for Fett and Charlotte, honestly, is for them to split up, because remember, Quinlan is on a personal suicide mission. When he kills the master, he too thinks he will die. So when the master dies, Quinlan dies, and supposedly his hold on a Strigoi. So Charlotte at the end though saves their ass. Did you guys see? So when Eichhorst finally shows up and he's all T2, right? He's like, brrr. Charlotte saved their ass again. So Eichhorst had really bad luck, y'all. One, he had really bad luck in the last episode when Dutch set his ass on fire. And this episode, Charlotte put a couple slugs in him. So he has really bad record with women, y'all. Eichhorst has a really bad record with women. Something else that we learned is that Eichhorst, he's a pretty good makeup artist. I'm not sure if you guys saw the comment from our another strainee, Amanda. She had commented because I said that Quinlan's love from the 1888 was a great makeup artist and she could have her own great YouTube channel, right? Well, Amanda, a fellow strainee, commented that remember that Eichhorst is the #1 makeup artist because Eichhorst does his own makeup. Remember that Eichhorst has no nose. He really looks like a Strigoi, and he does his makeup pretty good, because I forgot about the fact that he does his makeup. And in this episode, we saw that he was still battle damaged from his run-in with Dutch when she set him on fire. So we saw that gnarliness right here. So everything else was probably makeup that he did. And you know what, Amanda, if you're watching this, you are right. Eichhorst does good makeup because he looked like he was unscathed besides that little part right here. So maybe Eichhorst is regenerating under that, or maybe he's just hiding the ugliness. So it's one of those two. But looks like the makeup is covering up a lot. So I give it up to Amanda. She is right. Eichhorst may be the #1 makeup artist on the strain, right? We talked about the tragic scenario that happened with Quinlan and his lady and her daughter in 1888. And we also talked about the fact that Charlotte and Fed had to split up in order to protect her. So that's two tainted loves, right? Well, there was two other tainted loves, right? There was two other sets. So we found out that one set of tainted love was Abby and Zach. So it turns out it wasn't so good for Abby in this relationship, right? So Zach was led by the master, and now we know that from the beginning, the master just wanted Zach to experience something, have it taken away so he can fall back to his arms. And Kira, or Kyra, if you're watching this, another strainee, she asked us in a comment, maybe a couple episodes back, do we think we're gonna see the master again impersonating Zach's mother? And I said, yeah, I think Zach's mother's going to get a lot more paychecks. And her character was back this episode because we saw that Zach looks like he's been talking to his mother from what he told Abby, that he talks to his mother as well. And when Zach talks to his mother, y'all, he's not hallucinating. He's actually talking to the master. So it looks like the master uses the white to manipulate Zach's mind. So when Zach's having a conversation with his mother, you guys see his mother, it's really the master. And we saw those creepy hands. Like, the master needs to get his hands taken care of, y'all. He should go to a nail salon, get them things filed down, because they look really ugly, y'all. So anyway, the master's creepy hands are around Zach. So looks like he uses the image of Zach's mother to manipulate him. And he sent Zach to find, to go ask Abby out, knowing damn well that Abby had a boyfriend. And that Abby was sharing the peach with her boyfriend and other people in that building, right? So Zach gave her some peach. So the master knew very well that that Abby had a boyfriend, or that wasn't going to end well, because he sent them out there to ask her for her hand in, in a relationship, whatever, just to get shot down. And now that we saw that Zach, he has a temper. We saw that with New York City, y'all. So I'm not surprised that he sicked his Strigoi pet on Abby, and that Abby is no more. That's it. That tainted love is over, y'all. So that's what that was all about. The master purposely gave Zach that possibility of relationship. Remember, he told Eichhorst to have something in mind as a trophy or as a reward for Zach when he killed that tiger. And that was it. He wanted basically to have Zach, have the idea that he could have something aside from the master. And then the master can manipulate him back and say, you see, I'm the only person who doesn't fail you. Everybody fails you. And that's what that was about. So Abby is no more, y'all. She became Strigoi food. She is out of here. And Zach is one step closer to being the master's host and his boyfriend. So that's what we saw in this episode, y'all. So basically we saw 4 sets of tainted love. And I think that it might not be the end for Charlotte and Fat, but you might see them down the line. It's definitely the end for Quinlan and his love from 1888. And it's definitely the end for Abby and Zach. But we've yet to see the end of the tainted love that Zach is going to have with the master. So in the next episode, y'all, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens to the professor. Is he recovered? Is he ready to get back in the fight? Is Dutch going to join him in the fight? Are we going to see more of another love that's hopefully not tainted in Alex and F? And is our team going to all unite in New York City to take down the master who's living in the Empire State Building? So this is the Tone Show. Make sure to subscribe and like for more Tone Show. Everybody who's joined us, all our new Strainees, welcome to you guys for joining the channel. And I'm looking forward to the next episode, as always. This is the Tone Show. Tone Show out.